So today I want to talk about Kurigata placement. Now, on a sword there are several preferences that one may have, and this is definitely one of them because you may have a different hand size than I, or you may have a particular way you were taught that it needs to be placed, or what have you. So I want to talk about three different examples I had here. I've got one that's really close to the Koiguchi. I've got one that is a little further away, and then one that's quite a ways away. So on this one, I cannot comfortably fit my hand in between the Kurigata and the tsuba. So it just won't quite fit. Now I can cram it in there if I kind of fold my hand in there. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages that I've found to this right here. The disadvantages is obviously it's not very comfortable. My hand's a little bit cramped and it feels unnatural. To pull the sword out, most of the things I've read say that you press the tsuba with the thumb to break it loose, and then you're able to draw. Well, when you're this close, you really can't move your thumb. Now, if I rock my thumb back, then my palm is kind of resting on the Kurigata at that point. It's just uncomfortable. It feels unnatural. It doesn't seem right. So when I'm using this sword, I simply tighten my grip, and it seems to push it out. So I'll show you that again. So I just tighten my grip, and I'm able to pull the sword out. Now what's cool about it being that close for me is now I've got my hand right about where it needs to be for no-toe. I can feel the blade gliding across, and I'm able to sheath it back in. Something else that's cool about that is when I let go of the saya and I go to put my hand back on it, I can just butt it up against the Kurigata, and there it is, pretty much right where I want it to be. Now the scary part about that, at least for me, again I've had no formal training, is I butt my hand up against there, and I could have kind of the webbing of my skin a little bit too close to the edge for comfort, at least for me. But for the most part, I can grab it and know that that's right where I want it to be. So this one, that's kind of the pros and cons. Move on to the next one. So the next one again, it's a little bit further away. And when I butt my hand up against the Kurigata here, it feels much more comfortable. I've got a little bit of room there. I got an awfully tight fit on this one right now, so it's a little bit separated from the tsuba, and I'll talk about why I kind of like that here in a minute. Well, from here I can kind of pull my thumb around and get that push on it. I can't really do the grip thing like on the last one. I'm not quite close enough. But it's not incredibly comfortable. I don't have a whole lot of movement here, but it seems fine. I can kind of reach back and press with my thumb. Seems okay. My palm doesn't dig into the Kurigata when I do that. So this distance seems about right for me as far as getting the sword out. Now, when I pull the sword out, the problem with this one is, again, when I butt up, now I'm a little bit too far down. At least I think so. Now I suppose you could develop the memory and the feeling of where you need to be on the Koiguchi. You might just be able to grab a hold of it and know, oh, I'm right where I need to be. But for me, I can't do that. I grab it. If I don't have something to reference here, I worry about the webbing of my hand being too close. So as the edge, slides into the saya, I worry about cutting my hand or something, which I've never done, but I'm scared to. Or maybe my finger's a little bit too far up and it kind of pinches my skin as it glides back into the saya on the mune side. So it just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like I'm completely aware of exactly where my hand's at. So I can't duplicate the exact same no-toe experience every single time. So it seems like with this one, I can butt my hand up and then kind of crawl up a little bit to be about where I need to be. But then again, I don't know that for sure. I don't have that reference there. So what I do like about this one though is when I am ready to no-toe and I've got my hand about where I want it now, maybe that's not how I'm supposed to do it, but it's how I've kind of developed over the last year or so, is when I get this one here, I can keep my hand there and now it's tight because I have an ultra tight fit in the Koiguchi right now. So I can have my hand close and now the sword is nice and tight. It's not going to come out. Now you can see though that it doesn't quite butt up against the tsuba. So I wonder about that too, is when I'm holding here and the tsuba meets the Koiguchi perfectly, well now my hand's in the way, so now I gotta slide my hand back. I would like to be able to keep my hand in one spot. So this is the closest I've been able to come to that, yet I wish the Kurigata now was a little bit closer. So I don't know, it just seems like you can't really win. Lastly, this one is placed quite a ways from the tsuba or the Koiguchi, however you want to look at it. When I grab it here, it's comfortable. I'm close to the point of balance. It's nice to kind of carry around, but from what I understand, most practitioners that are putting this in an obi, this would be too far close to the kojiri in that it would prohibit sayabiki, and then this would get caught on the obi too soon. You don't have enough movement this way. But I don't experience that since I am a little bit untraditional in that sense, but I can certainly understand where they're coming from, and I don't know why anyone would want it this far away. When I hold it here, I mean, talking about some massive hands, I'm a medium usually, glove size. I'm sure there are bigger hands out there, but I don't know about that much bigger. So, but now with this one, when I'm butted up against the Kurigata, it's really comfortable for me to open and close here. But for no-toe, it's way out. I mean, it's miles off. So like when I'm going to grab up here, I have no reference point down there. So I'm relying solely on where my fingers fall in the Koiguchi. And again, I wanted something a little more universal where I can just kind of slam my hand against that Kurigata and know it's right where it needs to be, and not have to overthink this part of it, and focus more on what I'm doing with the blade and not what I'm doing here. Now maybe that's wrong, maybe I just need to practice some more, but I don't know, I'd like to know everybody's thoughts on this and what you prefer. I'd like to know if anybody out there prefers this kind of distance here, if you prefer to have your hand relaxed where the Kurigata is touching here and the tsuba's butted right up against your hand. Do you like that you have to maybe cramp your hand in a little bit and then just squeeze to open it up? Do you like a lot of room like here? Maybe some feedback on those who do use an obi, how the Kurigata plays into keeping it from sliding out of the obi, or even how far you need to pull the saya back in the obi for sayabiki, if this would prohibit that. Some of the research I've done shows that it would. But I just kind of like to know what everybody else thinks. Eventually I'm going to be doing a custom sword that's tailored to me in every way, and this is one thing that I'm not really sure about. So I kind of like what I've got going here, although most folks don't prefer to have the tsuba not butt against the Koiguchi, but I found that to be one of the more comfortable things. So if this Kurigata was just a little bit closer to fit my hand better, I kind of like that when I have my hand right up there on the mouth, that as the tsuba comes to meet the Koiguchi, it kind of gets tight before it touches my hand, so that my hand can kind of be protruding past the Koiguchi there. But anyway, any thoughts, comments, or schoolings on how you were shown to do it, or just how you developed doing it if you're like me and didn't really have anybody to show you. You just kind of watch a YouTube video and do what seems comfortable or seems right. Or maybe I'm just cementing in bad habits, which I'm sure I've done a lot over the last year. But anyway, just a video that I thought would generate a little conversation about this, and maybe I'll learn a thing or two, and maybe other people will too. I don't know. So that's it.